Hello and welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. For Kev, I'm Jay. Today we're going to be talking about the two episodes. The first one is a one-parter, and the second one is the first part of a two-parter. So we're gonna start with Bounty Hunters, then move to Zillo Beast. Kev, you want to start us off with Bounty Hunters?
Yeah, season 2, episode 17. Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka Tano form an uneasy partnership with 4 deadly bounty hunters to protect a local farmer from Hondo Anaka and his band of pirates. Episode was fine. It was a good side story episode. I don't know. It was apparently homage to a Kurosawa film. Although, from what I understand of that film, the idea was they couldn't protect the village on their own, so they trained the people in the village. Here, they clearly could protect the village on their own. They just didn't want to, or couldn't stay there forever to keep protecting the village. So they thought it'd be better to train the local forces.
So the first thing I noticed is Hondo's back. And then the second thing is they wasted more time trying to train the village than just beating up the pirates.
Yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan's point was true though, that if they could go beat up these pirates, but there's going to be new pirates down the line. I guess there's really nothing. I don't know. I kind of think about this sometimes. I think from watching, not only stuff like this, but some of the old Western movies too. Like how crazy it was. Like we expect nowadays that. Especially, I live in a big city. You live in like a, pretty populated, I guess, township sort of area. But, there's tons of other people and houses around and, you feel generally pretty safe. There is obviously a police force and stuff if something bad happened, but you also just, by the amount of people around, feel safe versus, some of these remote towns we see in Star Wars. Like I said, some of the, when you'd see the old Westerns and there was like, one farmstead where there was a house for miles, anyone could just come at any time and just kill you or like rob you or whatever.
Yeah. And the Mandalorian, they talk about that I think the first episode of season 2, like, they're on Tatooine and the Empire had destroyed a town and there was like town folks and then the pirates just like, or miners. There was miners there, and the pirates just came and like destroyed the town.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to think about that, like how defenseless you are, or like I don't know why I randomly think sometimes about like imagine if you I don't know like I feel like this is where like camping or RVing or whatever is weird, like just to be by yourself in the middle of nowhere. Like I don't know. I was watching a video the other day. It was like a girl who RVs by herself and travels the country, and she had all these tips for like staying safe when she was in the middle of nowhere. And unfortunately, because our world's shitty, it mostly had to do with not looking like it was a woman alone in the RV. Like she would take all of her, like anything that looked feminine out of the front part that was visible, and she had this whole routine she would do every night.
She pull the Home Alone thing where it sounds like an adult man's berating her the entire time.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, this episode was pretty good though. I didn't like. I think the only part that I thought was kind of cringy was two actually. One, when Anakin's fighting Hondo, because I mean Hondo shouldn't be any match for Anakin. Honestly, I thought that was a little bit forced. I thought there was probably a way to do that better, where Hondo like gets the upper hand on him by being clever and gets away, instead of just having them actually have a lightsaber on, what other weapon duel.
The reflector staff or something.
Yeah. I didn't think that part made sense. And then when one of the villagers saves Obi-Wan, like I feel like Obi-Wan would have sensed that speeder coming, like that the villager wouldn't have had to save him unless it was like 4D chess on Obi-Wan's part, and he knew that villager was there and would save him. So that's why he let that speeder sort of sneak up on him on purpose.
Yeah, but it's kind of that's That's also kind of cringy because, Obi-Wan, if he lets that villager save Obi-Wan, and now this guy has this like heightened sense of like security and like toughness, and then he's going to start taking on pirates and get killed immediately.
I guess, but still, a lot of it's just confidence, right?
Oh, absolutely. The My favorite part of this is obviously the Obi-Wan part where the pirates surround Osaka and Anakin, and they're
Oh
like, "Oh,
yeah,
four against one," and they're like, "Oh, you don't count," to Ahsoka, uh, because she's so small. And then like Obi-Wan comes and he's like, "What about two against one? Do I count as one or something like that?" And they're like, "Oh." And it's like that's kind of badass, and I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan could have killed all four of them.
yeah, or the part at the end where Sugi, the most human female looking pirate, I mean, the shop says human female, says like, oh, I need a little company on this ship, and Obi Wan's like, oh, I got a lightsaber for you, and I just assume all Obi Wan's lines are sexual when he's talking to females he just met, or that he met a
Yeah,
long time ago.
he's gonna tell Anakin to pilot the ship, and then he's gonna go check her quarters for pirates, bed pirates.
Yeah, Obi Wan.
Eh,
Other than that, though, I mean, what else is there to talk about with this? I guess.
really? I think we've seen this episode before,
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah. There was one, right? There was one where they were on a planet where everything looked kind of like mushrooms or like spore-like looking things.
Yeah, and the
And they had to
separatists,
find
they
it.
didn't want to fight back, and the
Yeah,
separatists were coming, and they're like, "Well, we got to fight back."
yeah. I wonder if this is going to be like a once a season episode.
Oh, probably because the previous episode where this happened, they were trying to test the harvest bomb, where the bomb kills everything but droids.
Yeah, and then now in this next episode, we have a bomb that kills only droids.
Right. So yeah, so we can move into the Zillo Beast. Kev, you want to give a description for the Zillo Beast?
Yep, this is season 2, episode 18. The Republic's new superweapon awakens the fearsome Zillo beast of Malastare. Now the Jedi must devise a way to contain the deadly creature. This is a better episode, and although this is a 2-part episode, I'm really more curious about the next episode. Um, this one only had one moment at the end that bothered me, where they capture the beast and they're going to transport the beast to Coruscant, but they just pick him up with like troop transports, and like you can't carry him through space that way. And like, what, you're going to go to light speed with him like outside the ship?
Well, maybe they just have to get him to a more open area to restrain it.
Maybe, and maybe they're going to do that, and then they're going to like put him in a bigger ship. But like, what ship do they have that could carry this?
And a hollowed out Star Destroyer.
Exactly. I feel like they'd have to specially like outfit something to carry this giant beast, and plus how are they keeping him sedated for transport too?
I don't know. Clone troopers.
I guess I feel like we'll see part of that in the next episode. Probably not the transport issue, but
What I do like about this episode is you get more political intrigue and more war, where they're trying to go to this planet to get fuel, and this it is another fight. It's not like just a battle in space. They're like the separatists and the Republic are trying to battle for this planet for fuel, and they're trying to. And I feel like this episode, even though there's no real backstory, the Republic had beat the separatists there, because usually we see Count Dooku making a deal, and then the Republic has to come in and try to stop that deal. And I feel this time Mace Windu has made the deal first for fuel, and they're like, "Well, you got to beat us back from the separatists." And then they kind of make what are the aliens called?
the Dugs.
The Dogurus.
I think they're just Dugs. I think that's that Doge thing is like the title of that one guy.
Yeah. So the Dogs. Sorry, I can't pronounce human names, so this is very difficult for me. But yeah, it seems like the writers make them look like the bad guys. Like, oh, we're just gonna kill this beast, and the Jedi are like, no, we have to study it, and we have to like save it because it's a unique beast. And they're like, no, we're just gonna kill it. And honestly, like they try to make them seem like the bad guy, but they're really not. They're just trying to protect their home world. Like this thing's indestructible, and they're like, we're just gonna kill it, and then we'll have a peace accord with you guys. Then we'll sell you fuel. We'll get money. You'll get fuel, and the beast won't bother anyone. And to me, that's a totally reasonable plan.
So I'm not gonna lie though, when they didn't listen to Mace Windu and they wanted to kill the beast and they poured that fuel down and then the beast climbed out. I was like not upset when the beast was stomping on their village. Like I don't know, it was a stupid move. Like
Yeah, I didn't say it was a good plan. I just didn't see anything wrong with that plan because, like, if there was a giant beast, like if Godzilla attacked the United States, we would just nuke it. Like, we wouldn't try to study it.
I mean, I feel like the nuclear weapons might make it stronger, though, right?
Yeah, that's the point. It's the same thing happening here. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't really stop it. It kind of just made it more mad.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too when Mace Windu sent Anakin to do the negotiations, and then he went to study to look for what was like the rescue mission. Like Anakin's the best negotiator.
Anakin's the kind of guy that like goes to negotiations, like, here's what we want, and then they make a counter offer and he cuts their head off, and you're like, that's a terrible negotiation strategy.
Here's what we want. Okay, well, here's a counter. Okay, but here's what we want is the thing. I already said the thing I want.
Yeah, it's not very negotiating. Like they should have sent, a better negotiator.
Okay, so here's my question about the Doug. So what's considered arms and legs, right? Because the thing for them is that they walk on their hands and then they have their feet kind of dangling in the middle, kind of as arms. But then doesn't that then make the things they walk on feet and the other things are hands? Just because their feet look like hands, aren't they still feet?
Ever since the Phantom of the Menace came out, I still have no idea.
Is it just that they're like that those appendages like attach at what look like shoulder joints, so that's what's throwing us? Because like the things that they walk on attach where we have shoulders, and then
I do see what you mean. It's their hands are connected to their hips, and then it's just I don't know.
A
fine.
Yeah, like I wonder what the actual definition of like arms and legs are, because like I said, it's just the anatomy throwing us that their feet are attached where our shoulders would be, and their hands are attached, like I said, where their hips would be. But really, those are their feet and hands. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think I think they're just really weird. So I mean,
if I know the definition of arm,
I guess it's a good part of locomotion, but like their center of gravity's got to be terrible, and they probably can't run really fast.
Arm is each of the two upper limbs of the human body from shoulder to the hand, so that doesn't help us. A thing comparable to an arm in form or function, typically something that projects from a larger structure. Well, I guess that's talking about like a boom arm or something like that. But I guess if we went by the second definition, a thing comparable to an arm in form or function, then the middle things would be their arm.
But like, say if they got the robot Darth Maul legs, they got like legs attached to where their like hands are, those appendages. Like, could they use all four arms to do shit?
I don't know. And then if you look at the definition of leg, it says each of the limbs on which a person or animal walks or stands. Yeah, so those are just their legs. They're not walking on their hands. They're walking on their legs. Their legs just happen to be shoulder, like attached to what we would consider shoulder joints.
Well, if you believe in evolution, there's an evolutionary reason why these things grew like this.
Yeah, I feel like that would make a good video to like talk to figure this all out.
Well, maybe they have maybe their predators back in the day could only bend down so far, so they had to be short.
Yeah. Or for some reason they developed really long arms to the point that then the arms became bigger and the bigger and stronger joint, or the bigger and stronger appendage than the legs, so the legs atrophied away.
Okay, so going back to the episode, I want to bring up I want to bring up something I did notice that you could see the Padawan Ahsoka, and you see she's being trained by Anakin. And then you see Mace Windu, who's like he's a fighter Jedi, but like he grew up as a Jedi. And you kind of see the difference in the training where Ahsoka's like, yeah, we can study this thing. And like Anakin's like, yeah, my lightsaber couldn't penetrate it. And Ahsoka's like, yeah, this thing's super armored. And then, but Mace Windu's like, we can just study it to see like what it is. So it's like they're thinking like tactically and like battle, like we could study this and make it armor. And Mace Windu's like, we could just study it to understand what it is and what it needs, why it's here. So you can see like these fierce Jedi versus like, more of our monk Jedi that just wants to study something.
Yeah, I mean, Mace Windu definitely is more of an evolved life form, you would say, as far as sort of spiritually and emotionally. I think part of it though too. I mean, they knew that they had to sell to the Chancellor a reason, because he obviously didn't care about the life form, so they had to find some justification to convince him to save the Zillo beast, because otherwise, people just had to destroy it. Which I mean, with just Anakin there, and he was not for destroying it, he just would have ignored that and kept it alive in some way. But you would think with Mace Windu there, he would have followed the rules if he was told he had to destroy it.
And then bring it to Coruscant. I really just think that's a bad idea. Like, I don't think next week's episode is going to be good.
I think next week's episode is like the Zillo Beast Strikes Back or something. So I don't think it's going to be good now.
No, Zillo Beast Strikes Back. It's not like it's like, oh, you guys captured me, but I'm really good at making tea. You guys want some tea?
Yeah, I would still take him to a remote planet to study, right? Like where he could roam around, but then you could study him. You could maybe mobilize him some of the time for further study.
So it says here, the Zillo Beast, like I said earlier, is deliberately meant to be a parody of the iconic Japanese movie monster Godzilla, right down to its similar sounding name and promotional poster.
Like in Attack on Titan, when Hanji wants to study the Titans, she captures two and brings them to like a remote fort. She doesn't bring them inside the city walls. Like, I don't know. I have to watch a couple episodes of season 4 are out now. At least I think the English version. I'm pretty sure. I gotta start watching that. If you haven't watched Attack on Titan, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Oh my god! It's the first episode is terrifying, and then it gets just like it's like so intense after that for 3 seasons so far.
Yeah, so I don't really have much else to say about these 2 episodes other than I definitely like
the best thing I watched besides the Clone Wars.
I definitely like Zillo Beast better because it gives us more intrigue, like how they do get fuel, which doesn't make sense because if you watch the Han Solo movie, they talk about fuel in a whole different capacity. So I don't know who to believe.
Yeah. That was a really good movie. It was a shame that there was that. I think there was that like Last Jedi backlash that I think kept people away from seeing that movie because it was a good movie.
It was silly. I mean, it was predictable, but it wasn't bad.
It was just. I'm sure we talked about this before on one of these podcasts, but I mean, it's just hilarious that like George Lucas made a whole movie just to talk about the parsecs thing.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it was like hilarious. Once you had that realization, the last like 20 minutes through, you're like, wait, he's just been really bothered by the parsec as a unit of distance, not of time thing for all this time, and he made a whole friggin' movie about it. That's ridiculous.
Let him.
It's pretty much the pettiest thing I've ever seen.
Coming from the pettiest person I've ever met.
Yeah, so I really appreciated it.
Yeah. So, well, that's all I have for these 2 episodes. Anything from you, Kev?
No, that's it. So for me.
Okay. Tune in next episode where we're going to talk about the conclusion of the Zillo Beast with the Zillo Beast Strikes Back, and then the last Zillo Beast after that. Now, so next week we talk about Zillo Beast Strikes Back and Death Trap,
and then the return of the Dougs.
Yeah. So for Kev, I'm Jay. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on Stitcher, Spotify. I didn't have the thing up. Kev makes his YouTube, so check out his preview video. We're getting better at them. This episode hasn't even dropped out once. So check us out on many of our platforms, especially YouTube, and please like and follow.